Hey everybody, welcome to a new week of math. We're coming right down to it, to the last couple weeks for the year, so let's make sure we focus in on these last few assignments. So today we are going to be talking about, going to be on assignment 8-1. We're going to be talking about scale drawings. So this is picking up where we left off last week with indirect measurements and similar figures. So we're going to work on scale drawings today. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So when we talk about scale drawings, we're talking about dimensions of a scale model or scale drawing are all related to actual dimensions by a scale factor. So the scale factor is a ratio, and we've done ratios this year. We have talked about it. And so this should not be something new because remember we talked about ratios and proportions and we kind of did that whole unit together. So let's make sure that we know that this is not entirely new, except for we're putting it with pictures basically. So a scale drawing is an enlarged or reduced drawing that is similar to the actual object or place. So if we take our original photo of a cake here and we want to make it a scale drawing, but we're going to make it smaller, it's going to be similar, but it's just smaller, but it is the same thing. Or we can take it and we can make it bigger. So, or what we say is enlarged. So, again, it's the same drawing. We're either shrinking it or we're making it bigger, but we're going to do it proportionally so that our proportions or our units of measure stay proportional. So that's a big key for us to understand that as we go forward because we're going to set some things up much like we've done in the past. So if we go to the next, our next screen here, it says a model of a tree is made using a scale of 1 inch to 25 feet. And then it says, what is the height of an actual tree if the height of the model is 4.375 inches? So the first thing we have to do is we're going to set up basically a proportion, and then we're going to do our cross multiplication like we've done in the past. So we have inches listed first and feet listed second. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's put inch on top and feet on the bottom. Okay, so if we look at what the scale I'm giving you that we're going to do this in, so that means we have 1 inch equals 25 feet. Okay, so that's what we're saying. And so we want to find out what the height of the real tree is. So our scale, our actual tree model height is 4.375 inches. So if I have inches on the top, so that's where I want to put my number. So we're going to put 4.375 on the top, and then the bottom part is the actual height of the tree in feet. So that is going to be our actual variable. That's what we're trying to look for. And then we're just going to do our cross multiplication. So I'm going to multiply those two numbers and those two numbers. 1 times m is m, so we're just going to get m, and it's going to equal 4.375 times 25, which gives us the number of 109.375. And again, that is in feet. Remember, feet's on the bottom, so we need to make sure that we are labeling that. So that's going to be our answer for that problem. So m equals 109.375 feet. Okay, so not too bad as long as we're making sure that we're keeping inches on top, feet on the bottom, and that they're the same on both sides. So not too bad. Now, going on to the next slide. So I can give you a picture of a layout of a house. Not necessarily my house. My house obviously is not that big. So in the next slide, we're going to ask you some actual dimensions of some of these rooms. But it's telling us right here at the bottom what our ratio is. So every 1 centimeter that our model is going to be equal to 1.5 feet in reality. Okay, so we have to remember that 1 centimeter equals 1.5 feet. Okay, so as we look at this model, for every centimeter of a room, that's going to be 1.5 feet. Okay, so if you really go ahead and go to the next slide, it says find the actual dimensions of the master bedroom and the office, and that is of our model from the slide before. So we have to know that it's 1 centimeter is going to be equal to 1.5 feet. Okay, so our master bedroom is 10 centimeters. Okay, by 14.1 centimeters. So we know that okay, 1 centimeter equals 1.5 feet. That's our ratio. Okay, and that's going to be equal to 10 centimeters on the top, and we're looking for the actual dimension. So we're going to put that right there. Okay, and then when we look at the 14.1, we're doing the same thing. So it's 1 centimeter by 1.5. Remember, that's our ratio from our diagram. Is going to be equal to 14.1 centimeters over our variable, over m. So that's our variable. So we need to figure both of these out. So 1 times 1, so when we do our cross multiplication, so m is going to be equal to 1.5 times 10, which is going to give us 15 feet. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here. 1 times m is m, so m is going to be equal to 1.5 times 14.1, which just gives us 21.15 feet. So the actual dimensions of the master bedroom is going to be 15 feet by 21.15 feet. Okay? So that's kind of how we look at that. Okay? So now, how about the actual dimensions of our office? So we're doing the same thing. So our ratio, again, is 1 centimeter equals 1.5 feet. So that's going to equal to 5 centimeters on the top. We're looking for feet on the bottom, so that gives us that. Our other dimension, we're going to be, remember, our ratio from our diagram is 1 centimeter for 1.5 feet. That's going to equal 6.8 over m. Okay, so cross multiplying, m equals 1.5 times 5, which is 6. Again, that's going to be in feet. Same thing, cross multiply, so we get m equals 1.5 times 6.8, which is going to be 10.2. That's going to be in feet. So our office is going to be 6 feet by 10.2 feet. Okay, so that's the dimensions of our office. Okay, so if you look back to that diagram of our house, these would be what our dimensions are in the real world. Okay, so we've taken our scale drawing and we actually put down what our actual dimensions are of that office. So not too bad if we just kind of don't panic and just crunch the numbers. Okay, so let's go on to the next slide. And this is kind of asking us the same thing. So if we look at our scale down here, 1 inch equals 1.5 feet. So we're asking the island in the blueprint is 6 inches long. What is the actual length of the island in the kitchen? Okay, so if we look at our scale there, it's 1 inch is over 1.5 feet. So right there is our first fraction. That's going to be in our proportion. So that's going to be equal to 6 inches. It's telling us is what it is on our diagram. So that's 6 inches. That's our actual diagram. And then we're looking for the actual length. Okay, so we can put anything in there. I can put x in there if I want. Okay, and at this point, we're just going to cross multiply. Okay, so 1 times x is x. So x equals 1.5 times 6, which gives us 9 feet. Okay, so the length of our island in reality is 9 feet. Okay, so make sure that you're always looking for that scale on a map, and then we need to know what that is, length in inches or centimeters, and then we can find the actual length. So hopefully this is making sense and it's not too hard. Let's go on to the next slide. And as we look at this, what is the area in square yards of the deck represented by the scale drawing? So what's our scale? Right here. 1 centimeters to 2 yards. So 1 centimeter to 2 yards. So that's going to be equal to, so our one length of our deck is going to be 8 centimeters. So we have 8 centimeters, and we want to know how many yards that is. So that's going to be whatever variable you want it to be, but that's what we're looking for. So we cross multiply, so we get x equals 16 yards. Okay, so the one length of our deck is 16 yards. Now let's look at the other one. So we still have our scale of 1 centimeter to 2 yards. That's going to be equal to 16 centimeters to our unknown. So cross multiply, we get x equals 2 times 16 is 32. That's 32 yards. Okay, but that's not what it's asking us. Okay, so we need to get these measurements because it is asking us what is the area. And we find the area by height times width. So we're going to multiply our two numbers together. So we should get 16 times 32, okay, which is going to be equal to 512 yards squared. This area is squared. So we're trying to figure out this whole area, what that measures to in square yards. Okay, so that's just basically figuring out the area of a rectangle, but we're just doing it kind of in real world. When I go to build the deck later this summer on our house, I'm going to have to know how much wood I'm going to buy. I need to make measurements like this and figure out what sort of area I'm going to build in. So our final area comes out to be 512 square yards. Okay, so make sure that we understand what the question is asking us and that we fulfill that question. Because if we just get x equals 16 yards and x equals 32 yards, our problem's not done. We need to do one more step. So let's make sure that we're always doing that, everything the question is asking us. Okay, so let's do one more slide here. What is the actual base length of the triangle depicted in the scale drawing? Okay, so again, we look at our scale, and here's our scale right here is 1 inch to 2 meters. Okay, so I'm going to write that over here already, 1 inch to 2 meters. And if we look at what we're trying to find out, which is base length, okay, so I have inches over meters, so I'm going to put 2.5 inches, because I'm trying to figure out that, okay, over what we're trying to figure out. So we're going to cross multiply, so we get m equals 5 meters. Okay, so we are changing the scale from inches to meters. So 2.5 inches is going to be equal to 5 meters in actuality. So when we do our scale drawings. So there's your answer. Okay, so make sure that we're getting our numbers in the right place, and then just do your cross multiplication that we've been doing for a while now. So I'm hoping you all are really good at this by now. So if we just get our numbers in the right place, I think you guys are going to be just fine. So make sure you email me any questions you may have. Your homework is going to be sheet A-1A that will be posted with this. So if you have questions, please get a hold of me and email me. Again, I'm available just about any time. So go ahead and email me if you need. So I hope you have a great week upcoming. And I hope that you guys can all finish strong here over the next 2 weeks as we're coming to the end of school. Stay healthy and stay safe. I miss you all. I hope you have a great week.